I'm Shirley Coomer, a real estate advisor serving the Phoenix metro area. If you own a rental property and it's starting to feel like a second job, this episode is for you. The AC call in July, the lease renewal negotiation, the repair coordination. At some point, what once felt like a smart investment starts to feel heavy. And for many owners, becoming a landlord was never even the long-term plan. Some inherited property, some moved away and kept a home as a rental. Some planned to move back and life simply changed. If that sounds familiar, the real question is not just, should I sell? The better question is, how do I exit without unnecessarily losing equity to taxes? That's where a properly structured 1031 exchange comes in. A 1031 exchange, governed under Section 1031 of the IRS tax code, may allow you to defer capital gains taxes by reinvesting into qualifying investment real estate. Notice what I said. Defer, not eliminate, defer. This is not about flipping property or chasing the next deal. This is about exiting strategically. Because if you sell outright, here's what can be triggered. Federal capital gains tax, depreciation recapture, Arizona state tax. For many investors in the Phoenix metro area, that tax hit is significant. And here is the critical part most people do not realize. You cannot close, receive the proceeds, and then decide to do a 1031 exchange. Once the funds are distributed to you, the opportunity is gone. The strategy must be structured before you close. That means conversations with your CPA, coordination with a qualified intermediary, clear identification planning. Waiting until the sign is in the yard is often too late. No, let's talk about timing, because this is where people get tripped up. Under IRS rules, you have 45 days from closing to identify replacement property, and 180 days to complete the purchase. Those deadlines are strict. Miss day 45, and the exchange fails. That is why we often talk about replacement strategy before your property even hits the market. Planning creates options. Waiting creates pressure. Another common misconception is the term like kind. Like kind does not mean identical. It means investment real estate exchanged for other investment real estate. You could exchange a single-family rental into multifamily. You could consolidate multiple rentals into one commercial asset. You could move into a triple net property with less hands-on management. You could even exchange into investment land. Because this is federal tax law, exchanges can occur across state lines. You're not locked into the same property type or geography. Now let me explain something called boot, because this is where structure matters. Boot refers to any portion of proceeds not reinvested or any reduction in debt. For example, if you sell for $500,000 and purchase for $450,000, that $50,000 difference may be taxable. If you reduce your mortgage balance during the exchange and do not replace that debt appropriately, that difference may also be taxable. Details matter. The structure matters. And this is why planning before closing is non-negotiable. Another piece that often gets overlooked is performance. Most investors can log into a retirement account and instantly see their rate of return. 5%, 8%, 10%. But rental owners often focus on rent collected. The real question is this: what is your return on today's equity? Equity is what you would walk away with after paying off the mortgage and closing costs. If you have substantial equity sitting in a property producing a modest net return, that equity is making a decision. It is deciding to stay exactly where it is. Now layer in rising insurance premiums, HOA increases, property taxes, major repairs like HVAC or roof replacement, and ask yourself something else. Have you raised the rent? Many landlords hesitate to increase rent for long-term tenants. I understand that, but when expenses rise and rent stays flat, returns quietly compress. Over time, that changes the math. This is where structured asset review becomes important. Sometimes the property is performing well and holding makes sense. Sometimes the equity could be repositioned into something with more predictable income and less management, especially if retirement is on the horizon. Because here is a practical question. If nothing changes, what does managing this property look like 5 years from now? Does it support stable retirement income? Could it help fund future healthcare or long-term care needs? Does it provide liquidity, or is your equity locked behind tenant calls and maintenance coordination? Real estate should serve your retirement, not complicate it. And then there is the generational question. Under current IRS rules, property held until death may receive a step up in basis. But what exactly are you passing on? Are your children prepared to inherit multiple rental properties? Do they live nearby? Will they manage tenants from across the country? Can those properties be divided easily among heirs? Real estate is not always simple to split. In some families, it creates opportunity. In others, it creates friction. Generational planning is not just about accumulating property, it is about clarity. Now, I want to be clear. A 1031 exchange is not automatically the right strategy for everyone, but avoiding the conversation is still a decision. If you are holding significant equity in the Phoenix metro area, managing rising expenses, and thinking about retirement or simplifying your financial life, it is worth reviewing your options before you list. Once you close and take receipt of funds, you do not get a second chance to defer those taxes. In about 15 minutes, we can determine whether a 1031 strategy deserves a deeper conversation with your CPA and legal advisors. Call or text me at 602-770-0643. Let's protect your equity before the sign goes in the yard. This is Shirley Coomer. Have a great day.